back to my channel. My name is Alisha Elay, and if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Today, I'm going to give you guys the rundown on locks, okay? So, if you're interested in starting a lock journey, if you are just already started your lock journey, keep on watching. I'm going to give you guys some quick information that I think you should know. Hey, yo. Okay, so I got a few questions, and I felt like it would be important to put this in one video, especially since I know a few of my friends are starting their lock journey, have just started, are interested in starting, and honestly, it's what COVID has had us run through and realize and just start to appreciate natural hair a lot more than we already did. Okay. So a lot of us are starting our lock journeys during COVID. So there are questions. And, there's a lot of people starting their lock, companies during COVID. So there's things that you should know either now that you just started or you're thinking of starting. Okay. Or things that you already had your locks for years and you just didn't know. Okay. So here we are. I said a lot, right? Okay, yo. So hair texture is a big deciding factor on how your lock process should be started. Okay? Now, everybody starts their process differently. There is so many ways to start your lock process. However, there is coils, the coil method, there is braids, there is two-strand twists, instant locks, lock extensions. You see, I said 5 different ways already, right? Now, there's different types of locks. There's sister locks. There's traditional locks. There's semi-form. There's free-form. There's so many different types of locks, okay? Now, with that being said, because there are so many different types and there are so many different ways of locking your hair, you need to be able to decide whether you want smaller locks, bigger locks, whatever have you, and then also decide on what method you are interested in trying. Typically, people with looser textures would usually start with instant locks or sometimes even lock extensions, being that with looser textures, it is harder for your hair to lock and mat together. Okay, it might get tangled, but it's not always going to lock. So sometimes you need that extra force by using the either interlocking tool or sometimes even using the crochet tool and just matting it together manually. With tighter textures such as, or coarser textures such as, say, anything like 4 in the 4s, 4A, 4B, 4C, sometimes even 3C, you can start, you have an abundance of ways in which you can start. You can start with coils. You can start with, like I said, the braids. You can start with two-strand twists. You can start with instant locks. You can start with lock extensions. You have so many different ways that you could choose from. People that have 4C hair pretty much can do whichever way. It just depends on your personal preference and what works best for you. It also depends on your density of your hair as well, whether your hair is thick or thin. All of this plays a role in not only the amount of locks that you have, the amount of times how often you should retwist or not, as well as how big or small your locks are. So each person is going to have a different amount. I have 73 locks in my head, while other people are able to have 100, whatever have you, even though they have traditional locks. When you have micro locks or sister locks, you usually have a lot more than that, okay? It's in abundance. But it all depends on which way are you interested in starting, right? So that's where your loctician comes in as well. Your loctician needs to be very knowledgeable in what would make more sense in your starting process. Once you've already decided whether you want sister locks, do you want wicks, do you want regular traditional locks, once you've decided one of those three, then you can decide, okay, now that I've decided that this is the way that I think I should start, or they tell you this is the way I think you should start, then you start your process. Okay, now I've also gotten questions. What if that loctician started my locks? I came home, I didn't like how it was looking. Now, you have a choice. You can either get it, say if you got an instant lock, you could get it combed out, detangled. That's when you use conditioner to detangle it and comb out that process. Now, that will take a long time. You might have some hair loss. And that's because your hair was matted together. So now you're gonna have to detangle. With detangling, you're losing a bit of hair. So that's one process. Or say if you started with 2-strand twists, you started with braids, you started with coils, you can always just wash it out, comb it out, detangle it, and you're done. And then you can go and find a different way of starting. I would always say within at least your first month, definitely decide whether you want that way or not. Remember, everybody's hair is different. Everybody's process is different. Everybody's hair may lock at different times. It might lock faster than others. One side of your head might lock faster than the other. It's all normal. You're going to go through a phase that's called budding, where your hair actually sometimes buds right in the middle and you'll see like a lump. That's the budding. That's the bud. And then it will start to lock upward and downward. And then you'll have one lock. So that's typically how things like that start. Everybody's hair locks very different. Sometimes there's people that I know that have locks for years. They're fully locked, but their ends still haven't locked. They still have curly ends, whatever have you, frizzy ends. Everybody's locking process is different. So we just keep that in mind. Once again, you should also make sure, especially when you have starter locks, to wash your hair every 3 to 4 weeks. And I say that because there are locticians that will tell you, oh no, don't wash your hair for 4 months. That's nasty. That stink. That does not help your process. That just make your hair stink, okay? That actually could stunt the growth and the locking process. Just saying. And I'm not a professional, but this is things that I've heard from other professionals, and these are things that I've heard from experience and things of that sort. Okay? So I'm just telling you what I know. I'm filling y'all in on the tea, okay? So yeah, I've also gotten questions about lock extensions itself. Lock extensions are expensive, okay? They're an investment. The same way you invest in a house, the same way you invest in cars, whatever have you, in the stock market, and then, you see your growth is the same thing with lock extensions, okay? I paid $750 to start my lock extensions, and my lock extensions have been flourishing. I've had my locks for about 10 months. And I have had no issues. The same way you get your maintenance done on your car and get maintenance and upkeep in your house, same thing you do with your locks. You might need to get that maintenance, crochet maintenance, whatever have you maintenance, in the first 4 to 6 weeks. I got mine in after like 4 months, got a crochet maintenance. She maintained all my locks. I didn't have any issues, and I've been good ever since. Okay? The purpose of the crochet maintenance and the maintenance itself is to make sure that your hair is adhering to the lock extension and making sure that your lock is going to grow in the healthiest way possible. Okay, so that sometimes means where they need to crochet some of the loose ends back in, retighten it, things of that sort. That is normal. Crochet maintenance in general is typically very expensive because it takes a long time. It's a very tedious process. You're going through lock by lock and tightening up and down the shaft. So it takes a long time and it's expensive. So there's also things on YouTube that you can learn how to do it yourself. But I would always recommend going to a professional, especially doing the crochet maintenance, because you don't want to ruin all that money you done spent on you not knowing what you're doing, okay? Regardless if you learning on YouTube. So having a knowledgeable loctician is very important. And also doing your own research, because sometimes some locticians have been doing the wrong thing, or they just so used to being stuck in their ways that they don't realize that there's better ways out there. There's better techniques out there. And you don't need to retwist your hair every month. There's some people that do, and that's based off of their hair texture. That's based off of the density of their hair. For me, I can actually get away with doing it every month, but I'd rather not. I'm lazy. Ain't nobody got time. I might retwist a little bit or just like make it look like I have a retwist in the front of my hair for, neatness. But other than that, ain't nobody retwisting my hair every month. No, maybe every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks. Typically, for me, 6 to 8 weeks is when I get a retwist. And that's usually when I'm retwisting it myself. Because the same way, like we said about cars, you have to learn, you have to understand your car, you have a mechanic. Your loctician is your mechanic, okay? They're going to make sure they know, they're going to tell you everything that's wrong. They're going to tell you what you need to fix. They're supposed to fix it for you, and you're going to pay that money, okay? So it might be a little expensive, but that's where you need to know how to do certain things yourself, right? You might need to know how to do your little oil change. I'm over here talking car references like I know about cars. Besides the point. But yeah, y'all get what I'm saying. So pretty much make sure that you're washing your hair every 3 to 4 weeks. Avoid conditioner. Honestly, with locks, you don't even need conditioner, but avoid conditioner at least for the first 6 months to a year. I have started using conditioner now. I was using conditioner at the beginning, and I felt like that was ruining the integrity of my lock extensions. And I say that because with conditioner, it's supposed to loosen and help detangle. You want your hair to tangle, okay? That's the purpose of your locks. You want it to tangle. So avoid using conditioner. I've only started using conditioner because my hair is color treated. So that's helped keep the moisture in my hair and help my hair grow. As you can see, my hair is growing out black already. It hasn't been that long, but I know my hair is growing healthy. So I started using conditioner after 6 months, and I've been fine. I don't use any leave-in conditioners. No, I don't leave in conditioner in my head. Like, the conditioner that I'm using is a lock conditioner, specifically made for locks, and I wash it out. It washes out very easily. I don't have any buildup, nothing stuck in my locks. I don't gotta worry about nothing, okay? Also, when you're using shampoos, make sure you're using a clarifying shampoo that will help get any gunk out of your hair that you might have had. So any extra buildup, to avoid having buildup in the future in your locks, creating buildup. You don't want that, because then, you might have some mold. It might ruin the integrity of your lock itself. Like, it might stunt growth. There's so many reasons why you don't want buildup in your hair, okay? Also, make sure that you are brushing your hair weekly. At least weekly. Like once a week. The benefits of lock brushing is actually to distribute the product in your hair evenly. Also to get rid of any unwanted lint, because who wants lint? And like random, you have cats, dogs, animals, any random things that might have got to your locks and, stuck on, you want to get rid of that. So by using the brush, a boar bristle brush, you're good. Brush it out, good to go. Also, make sure that you create a regimen in your hair that works for you and stick to it. I've learned, for me, I wash my hair typically every 4 weeks or so. Wash my hair. I let it dry in a microfiber towel, and let that dry for like an hour, and then I let my hair air dry, and that works for me. Only time I actually put heat on my hair is actually when I'm doing a full retwist in a specific style. Then that's when I will do that. Or if it's like really late at night and I just wash my hair because I'm crazy and I ain't think about it, I will make sure that I blow dry my hair at least 80% before falling asleep, because you don't want to fall asleep with wet hair. You don't want to get sick, and you don't want your none of that. You don't want none of that nastiness, because if your hair isn't drying properly, that can cause mildew as well. So you want to avoid all of that. I want you all to remember as well that lock extensions, locks, starter locks, the reason why most of us have started this process is because it's a low maintenance style. You can not, like, you don't really have to manipulate your hair. Oil your scalp every 2 to 3 days. mist your hair down with some rose water, whatever have you. You can get all those products from Peculiar Roots. I will have my coupon code in the description. Do that and you're done. Wash your hair once a month, whatever have you, whichever makes you comfortable. Some people do it every 2 weeks, some people do it weekly, whatever have you. With starter locks, I would definitely wait at least 3 to 4 weeks before washing my hair. And I only say that because depending on the hair texture that you have, you don't want to manipulate your hair too much, right? And one way of washing your hair is actually by putting on a stocking cap and, doing a quick little zhuzh, just make sure you get in there a little bit. Nothing too crazy where you're doing a lot, and make sure that you're washing your hair downward. Do not do up, do down. So that way the water is flowing down and not changing the integrity and causing unraveling. That is the reason why I would say wait 3 to 4 weeks before washing your hair if you are newly locked. But other than that, if you're not, you wash your hair when you want at this point. Just make sure it don't stink. Also, I've gotten questions about coloring. I would definitely recommend waiting at least 6 months to a year before coloring your hair, but it also depends on the integrity of your hair. How healthy is your hair? I waited 6 months because I was told by my loctician to definitely wait at my 6-month mark, especially since I had lock extensions, that my lock extensions would be at a better state at the 6-month mark than to do it anything earlier than that. Because remember, when you're starting with lock extensions, it's the same thing as starter locks. You are going through a process. It just doesn't look like you're going through the process, okay? We all go through a starter lock process regardless of how we start. Instant locks, lock extensions, coils, whatever have you, we all go through a process, okay? Everybody's process is different, but we all go through one. So keep that in mind. So definitely avoid coloring your hair, at least for 6 months. There's ways that you can get color without coloring your hair. There's temporary color dyes. Peculiar Roots has temporary color dyes specifically made for locks that will wash out very easily, smell very good from what I've been told, and they don't bleed they don't bleed. Once you dry it properly, it don't bleed. So check those out. I believe they're $12.99. Check them out. I know so many people that have tried it. So far, I haven't tried it myself as of yet because I do already have color. But once my color starts changing, best believe I will try it out. Also, you can use semi-permanent dyes are something that you should be using. If you are going to color your hair, use a semi-permanent dye. Avoid using bleach. I bleached my hair because I wanted the red, but I went to a professional. So make sure that you go to a professional to color your hair. Do not do no mom and pop. You don't know what you're doing. Go to a professional to color your hair because you don't want, especially if you started your process with lock extensions or you just started your process in general, you gonna waste your time. You're gonna mess up the integrity. You don't want that. So to keep and maintain the health in your hair, definitely go to a professional and know who that professional is. Okay? So I think that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always ready to give you guys the tea on the tea and have you learn from me as well as me learn from you. So thank you all for watching. See you in the next video. Peace, y'all.